the main chip library is now complete, there are still a few more attacks to show off. These are the program advances. In order to obtain them, you have to select a certain set of chips in the correct order within the custom screen. This unlocks an all-new attack, some of which are very useful, some of which are blindingly powerful, and some of which are just plain goofy. Let the demonstrations begin. The first group of program advances is also the largest. These ones give you multiple uses of a chip while making you invisible. They're the Zeta and Omega advances. The Zeta series requires 3 chips of the same type, chosen in sequential order of chip codes. For example, Cannon A, B, and C will give you Zeta Cannon 1. The Zeta series lets you use the chip in question as much as you want for 5 seconds, plus makes you invincible, so no fear, go for it. The Omega series, on the other hand, requires all 5 codes for the chip in sequential order. In this case, getting Cannons A, B, C, D, and E will give you Omega Cannon 1. It works the same as the Zeta series, except it gives you 10 seconds of the effect. That's a good bit of time to bring some pain to the enemies. The invisibility effect certainly doesn't hurt either. The same chip groups are used for both the Zeta and Omega advances. Next up is High Cannon, and getting 3 will give you Zeta Cannon 2. It's a little bit stronger, but it's the same basic principle. Or getting all 5 in the sequence, F, G, H, I, and J, gives you Omega Cannon 2. One thing I should mention here, there is no in-between advance for just having 4 chips of the series. If you do, the first 3 chips will merge, giving you the Zeta advance and 1 leftover chip. It also works with M cannons. 3 will get you Zeta Cannon 3. It's a nice big boom to have on your side. Of course, it's also always nice to have that invisibility effect that comes with the Zeta and Omega advances. No fear, just kill everything in sight. And of course, getting all 5, K, L, M, N, and O, gives you Omega Cannon 3. By now you've probably realized one of the major disadvantages of the Zeta and Omega advances, and that's purely just how many chip codes it forces you to keep in your folder at one time. It's a good way to get your folder stuck, having these periods where there's nothing you can do as you wait for the chip codes to fall into place for your advances. There are 2 other chip families that this works for, the next being the Arrow chips. 3 tri-arrows will give you Zeta Arrow. The only problem with this one is it suffers just from how slow the normal chip itself is, so you really don't get that many extra uses of it. Whereas getting all 5 in order, A, B, C, D, and E, will give you Omega Arrow. Again though, due to the speed of it, it's not all that useful in advance. 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, I barely managed to fire it all 7 times as opposed to 5. Not too great. 3 Tri-Spears will give you Zeta Spear. It's a little bit faster than the Arrow advances, so at the very least you can make more use of it. And all 5, F, G, H, I, and J, gives you Omega Spear. It's a little more useful than Omega Arrow, but its usefulness is still somewhat limited by its speed. And finally, getting 3 Tri-Lances will give you Zeta Lance. As the last chip in the series, it is the strongest, the fastest, and really the most spammable, so hey, let the enemy have it. Very nice. And getting all 5 Tri-Lances, K, L, M, N, and O, gives you Omega Lance. This one's actually fairly useful. It has a lot of speed behind it, so you can spam it to your heart's content. And since it's a combination of weaker shots, you can even use it on bosses without worrying about flinching them. 5 uses and I almost had half my time left. That's very nice, actually. It also works for the Radon family. 3 Radon 1s gives you Zeta Radon 1. Go forth, my little mice, and kill! And all 5 in order, A, B, C, D, and E, gives you Omega Radon 1. There is a bit of a lag on the Radon chips, so having the extra time to use them can be a very good thing. Three Radon 2s gives you Zeta Radon 2. It's stronger, but it doesn't fix the lag problem. That is still there, precluding you from throwing too many rats, but still enough. And getting all 5, F, G, H, I, and J, gives you Omega Radon 2. It still doesn't solve the lag problem, that just seems to be inherent in this family, really. But the slight homing ability it has does still make it very useful to have, especially in large numbers. Lastly, 3 Radon 3s give you Zeta Radon 3. Because mousy spam is just the most awesome kind of spam, I suppose. Bit of a lag on it, but still useful. And of course, getting all 5, K, L, M, N, and O, gives you Omega Radon 3. It's still a bit laggy, but more powerful. Oh, what's a good way to clear the enemy field? Nezumi bombs! Yes, totally a Shag reference. Finally, there is one last Zeta and Omega pair, and that's for Spreader. Note there is not such an advance for Shotgun or Crossgun. 3 spreaders will give you Zeta Spread. There is kind of an annoying lag on this one, so you can't spam it quite as much as you'd think you'd be able to with a simple chip like this, but it is still a decent attack. And spreaders H, I, J, K, and L will give you Omega Spread. It still has a bit of a delay on firing, so you can't quite spam it as much as you'd think you'd be able to, but still decently. Whew, glad those are done.